Hey, good evening, or good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. Welcome to the stream. It's Wednesday Night Live. I'm your host, Jake Sloan. I gotta figure out what I'm gonna say when I start these streams, because hopefully. Anyway, yeah. So, I'm gonna say hi to people in the chat. If you're in the chat, you haven't said hi already, then say hi, because I love to say hi back. John Burnett, welcome. Hey, you made a stream, that's good. Richard Black, hi. Mark H, welcome. Hopefully you're staying warm down there in Minnesota. It is cold, but not cold up here. AVP Films, welcome. Mark Lazenby, welcome. Justin, hey, you're on. Yeah, this is my current project. I built this thing up completely, and now I tore it completely out. I'm putting in a new flight controller, a new ESC, which I thought maybe I had a bad channel on the ESC, but I don't. And then I'll be putting in, because I've been wanting to try out this guy here, the DJI HD system. So, trying to put that together. Goggles, mostly just because I want to try it out. Very important piece of troubleshooting gear, smoke stopper. So, yeah. Justin, I miss you too. Mark Lazenby, you're from Brisbane, Australia. That's fantastic. I have some other friends that live over in that area, which someday I want to come say hello to Australia myself. Just, I don't know when that'll be, but, yeah, so that's pretty much what I've been doing lately, other than working on the Weeble S here, which is, making some more films about how to use the Weeble S, the transmission unit, which, well, yeah, I mean, I have a beta unit, so there's bugs that we've been trying to work out, and, supposedly the mass-produced units, they've already worked a lot of those bugs out, but it's been fun. It's been interesting, too. So, hey, bud. Welcome. Luis Marquez, welcome. Jacksonville, Florida. Oh, it sounds so nice right now. It is so cold and wet here. Justin knows what I'm talking about. It's cold and wet. It feels like Seattle in the winter, which is not ideal. Anyway, so let's see, what was I saying? Building my FPV quad here. If you can see that. If I scoot it back, you can probably see it there, right? There we go. Yeah, so I've been working on another, because I just did the comparison video and the how to balance it video, because that's a question I get a lot, is how to balance a gimbal, X gimbal or Y gimbal, Z gimbal, whatever. And so I've decided now, whenever I do a gimbal review, the next couple of videos are going to be balance, setup, and settings, because those are the questions I get asked. So the next video that I'm going to be released will be walking through the app and settings for the Weeble S, and kind of like, how to get around and how to do it. That's the thing to me with the Weeble S, or Yiyun, whatever, however you say it. They're building a fantastic product. The Weeble S is really, really great. The problem is that their communication, a lot of stuff gets lost in translation, is the only way I could say it, I guess. Just a lot of stuff gets lost in translation. So figuring out what they're telling me to do and then what actually has to happen sometimes doesn't meet in the middle, and you got to kind of, figure out how to go about it. So anyway, I've been working through a lot of troubleshooting, not because I'm having trouble, but just to try and make sure I know, and I'm giving everybody the proper steps, the right ways to do things and go about things. Just especially when it comes to the app, there's some not really. It is what it is. And that's where DJI's a ways ahead of the game. Obviously they have tons of money to throw at stuff, but they definitely do a really good job of app development, especially for iOS. I can't say anything about Android. I don't have an Android phone. Justin, you want me to borrow your Android phone sometime? I'll try it out on that. But for iOS, the DJI app is laid out really, really well. Yeah. So anyway, that'll be the next one. I'm working on the settings, trying to figure out the right the best settings, although honestly, other than adjusting the deadband on this thing when I first got it, most of the stock settings out of the box have worked really well for me. The auto tune feature with the Weeble S is fantastic. It's so nice. So let's see. Mark Lazenby, you'll be visiting Alaska and Canada in September next or October next year. Fantastic. Shoot me a note. Say if there's any chance we can, say hi in person, that would be fantastic. That'd be brilliant. But even if not, I would love to, give you places to go, things to do, anything like that. I'm sure you'll be busy, and anywhere you go will be fantastic. But hit me up on Twitter or Instagram, and I'll at least see if maybe we can say hi in person. That would be fabulous. So, Luis Marquez, you just got your Weeble S. You love the gimbal. It's a fantastic gimbal. They did a really good job. Hey, Paul, welcome to the stream. Cardoso Media, welcome to the stream. Look at this, Cardoso. I'm rebuilding. I already built this one once, and I've been flying it. Now I'm rebuilding it to, I'm going to put in the DJI FPV system just for fun. I want to try it out. I want to see how it is. And then I wanted to put a different flight controller in anyway, so I'm doing that. Let's see. You only use the Weeble S with one lens, so you put a QR plate and you don't need to balance anymore. Yeah, and that's just it. That's really the thing. Unless my setup changes, my lens changes or anything like that, once this thing is set, it's set. And I just, all I ever do is this. Pop this off, and then it just pops right back on. But I will say, it's great. I love it. I have seen a few people drop their cameras because they didn't actually get it clicked in properly. So don't make that mistake. Let's see. Same for you, Cardoso. It's coming. So, okay. So these are my original motors, and my original design had 4 separate ESCs on here, the speed controllers. I had one on each arm, and I switched to a single stack with one 4-in-1 ESC. I got new motors for my 4-in-1 ESC because I was like, I'd like to try a little higher kVH motor. What are these? These are, I don't remember, 2150s. So I was getting, I think, 2450s or something like that. I think they were 2450s, something in there, or 2400s. Anyway, one of them is bad. So yeah, now I gotta wait. And the brilliant thing about living in Alaska, and I know that, let's see, Mark, being in Australia, you can probably relate to this. You have to wait for everything to get shipped to you, and it takes forever. So I have a new motor on order. These are my old motors. I, spliced in wire, put it together so that at least I can make sure the ESC was all good. The ESC is all good. I just need to clean up the wiring and start putting it together, which is what I'm going to do the minute this stream is over, because I really want to go out and try this thing tomorrow, even though it's raining right now. So, let's see. John Burnett, can I explain transmission unit on the Weeble S? Okay, so now the transmission units are not available yet. My understanding is they're still producing them, and they're still ironing out a few bugs. So like I have a firmware update for this. One of the bugs is I've not been able to update the firmware, so they're working on that. But essentially this is it transmits over Wi-Fi. It has a good about 100-meter range, so 300 feet, which is fantastic. And then it will go straight to your phone, or they'll also be selling a receiver, looks similar to this, that you could use with any sort of HDMI monitor, because it has a HDMI in, USB to your camera, and then USB to the gimbal, so the gimbal controls can pass through. The gimbal can charge this, etc. And then it just goes right through the app on your phone, and you can either look at this on the app, and this is going to be in the video I'm doing next. At least I think I'm doing actually on the app. You can either go and connect directly just to the image transmission system if you're not using a gimbal or the gimbal, and it has a built-in battery, so it will work completely standalone. Battery, for me, when I did a run test, it ran continuously, transmitting 1080p for 2.5 hours before it died, which is impressive because this isn't huge. And then the great thing is that if you connect this to your camera, at least for Sony cameras, I don't know about anything else, but Sony cameras, you can, using the app and just this, you can control start and stop recording remotely, which is awesome. In fact, that's how the balancing video is how I recorded the balancing video. I have my phone Wi-Fi'd into this, and I have my phone sitting next to me, and I could start and stop recording. Absolutely brilliant. Loved it. So there are some problems they're working on right now, because they have said that you should be able to connect up to 3 devices. Right now, it seems that when you connect more than one device, it introduces more lag and maybe a little bit less stability. It drops frames and stuff. But yeah, I'm really excited about it, because it's relatively inexpensive. I'm assuming it's going to probably come in a couple of $100 maybe for a set of these, or something. But it's really fantastic. In all my uses, it's been really great so far. So that's the image transmission system. If you got more questions, John, let me know, because I'll try and answer you. Let's see. Okay, where were we going? So yeah, I answered you, Cardoso. Right? Let me know you got Star Wars toy project in the mail today to show me anyway. Fantastic. And yes, I did finally get my desk cleaned off so that I can start working on your other project, and brushing up my soldering skills here. It's been a while since I did very much soldering. Anyway, John, you're taking a cruise to Alaska in 2021. Excellent. Yeah, do you know where you're going to go yet, or are you just in the initial stages of planning? Cardoso, yeah, the FP, yeah, and that's what I've heard, is that you definitely, the view in the goggles is huge. So I'm coming from, they're upstairs, but I'm coming from Fat Shark HDOs, which don't have a huge field of view anyway, but going to the DJI ones, it was like massive. I mean, they're huge, and they look great. I haven't seen them with the actual camera yet, but I'll be trying that out in a little bit. Let's see. And they are very clear. Very clear. Use the RC2 quick release plate with the Weeble S. Yeah, a lot of people, I've been finding out a lot of people are using the RC2 plate, which is great. I Swiss Arca everything, and so that's kind of where I am. I have a bunch of RC2 plates sitting in my closet. So Cardoso, yeah, I'm gonna run 4S for now. I've thought about running 5S, but 4S is good for me for what I'm wanting to do. I'm not a super high, freestyle. I'm definitely not racing. I am not a racer, but what I want to do is strictly cinematography with this drone. I mean, have fun too, because it's fun. It is fun. It's really fun to fly these things. In fact, I got my son a little tiny one, like, a little tiny whoop, and some goggles, and he's been flying it like nonstop since I got it. He loves it because it's a little tiny Emax goggles and a tiny whoop. He's having a blast. So anyway, let's see. Mark H. Yeah, I will be. It won't be in the next couple videos probably, but maybe the video after that, I think I'll be starting to pull some FPV footage in. And I don't know what it'll be about. I don't know where it'll be from. I've got a few ideas about where I'm going to be going to record some videos next, but it's all weather dependent, and the weather right now is very, very crazy. Send me a message on Twitter, Paul. We'll talk. Let's see. Good morning, Oz Beach Andy. Well, I'll say good evening because it's evening here, but good morning to you. Hopefully your day's going well. It's nice that you guys you get way hotter than we do, but the sun is probably headed back your way. Getting longer days. Ours are getting much shorter right now. Let's see. Ali Mustafa, do I play guitar? Can I play something for you? So the answer is yes. My primary instrument is actually keyboard, piano, keyboards, but decent rhythm acoustic players up here were hard to find for a while, and so I learned to play acoustic. but I'm really out of practice, and my fingers have no calluses on them at the moment. So I probably won't play anything tonight. Thanks, though. Anyway, Cardoso, getting a whoop soon so you can get started with FPV since your winters are so long. Yeah, that's the one thing I'm curious about this. Like the DJI batteries handle the cold pretty well. They get, they build up a certain amount of temperature and they do pretty well in the Mavic 2. The Mavic Air was a little harder. It didn't have enough mass to really stay warm when I was flying fast through like minus 20, minus 30. The temperature would start dropping on the batteries, so I had to keep a close eye on it. I'm curious to see how the FPV style batteries LiPos do, because I mean they get warm, but I don't know if they'll get hot enough to really. It'll be interesting to see. Anyway, so I've been thinking about getting a second tiny whoop that I can connect to bind to my the other controller I have and be able to fly inside and at least continue to develop and grow my skills so that in the spring I can take this thing out and really run with it. But I'm going to try and use it this winter too because I want to. And it has to be possible. I just have to keep the batteries warm. And I've got a couple of ideas about how to make a battery holder that will keep it warm, keep all the batteries warm, including my DJI batteries and camera batteries when I'm going out to locations. So we'll see. I got to try and make it so that it's really portable, but that it'll work well and handle cold temperatures while keeping it warm. So, Paul, yeah, I also play bass, but it's simple, but I'm tight and I don't hardly ever hit wrong notes, and I'm very tight, but I don't do anything fancy either. So, Mr. 305 for real. Good evening. Let's see, Ali Mustafa. What are you shooting? What kind of camera are you shooting? Because that'll make a big difference. So yeah, let me know. Hey, Harrison Family Vlogs, welcome. So we've been talking about the Weeble S a little bit. My next video is going to be like a walk through the app settings, all that kind of stuff. And then we've also been talking. I'm rebuilding my FPV drone. I had built this already and have been flying it for a little while, but I decided I wanted to put the DJI FPV system in there to try it out. We'll see if I like it. I don't know if I will. For what everybody says, I probably will. And see you, Paul. Have a good night. Thanks for tuning in and hanging out. And so anyway, but I did decide I want a different flight controller and different motors. The problem is one of the motors I got is bad, so I'm waiting for the other one to arrive. So I had to put in. So I'm doing a 4-in-1 ESC instead of the individual ESCs that I had before, and then I had to use these motors again because till I get my working fourth motor, I'm stuck. So that's what we've been talking about tonight. Here's some family blog. So let's see. Yeah, log footage. Okay. And Cardoso, you keep your batteries under your shirt to keep them warm in the winter. Yeah, and that's usually what I do is generally I'm wearing this. I'm like long underwear, regular t-shirt, this, another layer on top, and I'll stuff them down in here inside next to my body to keep them warm while I'm going out to some of these locations. This year I have a different jacket. I probably won't be wearing this much. I have a different jacket that is a little lighter and a little more easy to wear, but it has some interior pockets. And I checked when I bought it because I was like, I want to make sure I've got a place to put my batteries inside. Canon EOS R. Oh, okay. Yeah. So if you shoot log footage, you obviously have to learn to color grade a little bit. But the nice thing is there's a lot of LUTs out there you can get that get you 99% of the way there. And all you have to do is play with saturation contrast a little bit and it'll take you there. But if you shoot in log footage, basically log footage gives you the widest amount of dynamic range in your video from the darkest to the brightest colors. And so then if you expose pretty close to right in your log footage, then you're going to have the most amount of range there, and then you can push it one way or the other. Low light, the Canon EOS R should do fairly well in low light because that's a newer camera. It's a newer sensor design and stuff. Like this, the Sony A7 III does fantastic in low light, even in really low light, it's really impressed me. They learned a lot from the A7S II. So here's to hoping the A7S III gets released someday in my lifetime, and it's as good or better than the A7S II was. Anyway, so yeah. And then it's a matter of playing with your exposure to get what you want exposed properly to be about right, and then not have to mess with the rest. If you underexpose, then when you bring everything up, to bring it up to proper exposure, then you'll end up with more noise. And if you overexpose, obviously you lose your highlights and stuff. But so it's kind of a balancing act, and just playing around and figure out exactly how your camera kind of responds to, what you're shooting. I've noticed with this in raw photos, like I can pull a ton of stuff out of the shadows in raw photos when I'm shooting with this, or the A7R3 or R4. Well, the R4 not so much, but the A7R3 for sure. And this, but I also noticed that if I don't get within a few stops, like 2 stops of what would be a proper exposure, regardless for whatever I want to expose, then especially in the shadows and especially in the dark places, there'll be noise available. And you can see on my Instagram, there's a post like probably 9 or 10 posts ago where I'm standing in a waterfall tube inside of a glacier, and it's where the water ran down through the glacier. And that's one example where it was underexposed, and we pulled it up and it looked okay, but you can see noise in the dark spaces. I don't know if you can see it on Instagram or not, but you can see it there. So hey Alex, Richard, you just did that cruise in September? Yeah. Oh, I saw that. Where was that? Back up. John Burnett, you leave from Seattle to go to Juneau, Skagway, Ketchikan, and Victoria. That is beautiful country there. Absolutely fabulous. You will see some spectacular things along that way. So, let's see. Harrison family, your Phantom 4 Pro spoiled you with its ease of use flying for those. Yeah, so going from a GPS stabilized drone, aka any DJI drone, this is a whole different ball game. I forgot I took this little cage off, but it's definitely a different ball game, and I'm picking it up. I spent fair amount of time on a simulator, and I don't try and do anything real crazy yet. I will down the road, but for now I'm just flying and enjoying it. So let's see. John Burnett, does the Weeble S have any attachments on the handle so you can put your monitor on it? So the Weeble S does have one 1/4-20 here that you can attach anything onto. I don't know if it comes with the kit or not, but you can get this, and I have it linked in the last video I did, this little phone holder. It's an affiliate link, which, doesn't cost you anything extra, but it does help me out a little bit. Of course, you being where you are, it might not work for you. But anyway, they have this little phone holder, which is great. But otherwise, any little grip arm, any 1/4-20 thing will go in there. And I did a Weeble Lab best accessories kind of thing. All of them hold true for this, pretty much. Somewhere. Oh, there it is. This, if I'm not filming myself, this is one of my favorite accessories for the Weeble Lab. This is their quick release plate, but then this, little handle here, because you can keep this on the bottom, you can pop this on the top, and then you have this really great, super stable grip that you can do underslung mode, or you can, go upright. I really, really like it. The other thing I really like about this is there's a 1/4-20, 1/4-20, 1/4-20, 1/4-20, 1/4-20, and then a bunch more, so you can mount a lot of stuff to it if you want to mount things to it. And so that's, yeah, the video I did about accessories it's fun to watch anyway, because I was kind of silly and ridiculous on it. But anyway, let's see, where are we? The next 501st, I don't know, Alex. It's been very difficult. I haven't actually been able to do that a lot lately because I've been working quite a bit, and that's why it's been quiet on that channel. So hopefully someday soon, but pretty much all of our events have been hospital visits, and so there's a lot of privacy things there. Yeah, So I'm not sure. I'm hoping soon though. Yeah. So let's see. Hey, Alex Morris, Cardoso. You haven't played with log profiles much. Picture Profile 1, yeah, Sony did a great job in the A6400, the A7 III, and everything after that with getting much better, I don't want to say more accurate, but more pleasing colors straight out of camera. So I set up my Picture Profile 1 as a custom thing that I made. It's similar to and kind of like the EOS HD for Pro Color 4.0 or 3.0, whatever they're on. But I tweaked it a bit because I had a little too much reds in it for my taste. Like, my skin came out looking like I was sunburned constantly. So anyway, I tweaked it a little bit, and I really like it now. And then actually, when I use it in conjunction with this Polar Pro ND filter, which at first I thought was a lot of hype until Gerald Undone did his video on them. But I really like the combination of this. This does the polarization effect from this filter in combination with my settings and then what I do in post. I'm really happy with how my colors turn out, straight out of camera, essentially straight out of camera. I don't do any color grading or shooting log or anything like that. I probably need to mess around with it more, but I come from recording studio background, so in the recording studio, it was always like you need to get it 90% of the way there at the microphone, or you're going to have to work too hard when it comes to mixing and editing and all that. And I kind of follow that same principle when I'm filming. Is I want it to be 90% of exactly what I want when I'm filming, and then in post, it's just down to editing and putting it together and cleaning up the edges. So I'm a big believer in do it right before you start filming things or before you start taking pictures, at least as much as you can, because it will save you a lot of headaches in the end. So that's my philosophy. Anyway, you're welcome, Ali. Hey, Technically T, welcome. I see you're on the prowl for a different camera again, or did you already get one? I know you've been hopping a lot. You've been hopping cameras as much as I've been hopping drone parts and controllers here. Mark H, the extra grip is what I do real low shots with. Yeah, exactly. So and this is my favorite thing about the Weeble design, is it for low shooting, it is so comfortable because the weight is really well balanced. I really like that about it. It's really fantastic. So let's see. Yeah, Cardoso, exactly. Technically, T, you're back with the A set? No way. Are you serious? Dude, you've done like a full circle. You ought to try the EOS R next. I'm just kidding, man. I'm just kidding. Don't do that. It gets expensive quick. I mean, even selling stuff used, it's like you start going, dear Lord, it's costing me money every time I turn around. So anyway, the S7 III and the Tamron 17-28. Nice. I'm glad to hear it. That's a great setup. I really like it. And I'm kind of like, no, man, I'm not judging you. I keep going back and forth, like, do I need a better photo camera? Like the A7R4? I mean, I don't want to get that one because it's really expensive right now. But, I'm kind of always out there just like, maybe that should be, I like the, what is it, the XC1 or XS1? Anyway, one of the Fujifilm cameras that's out there right now. It does 4K 60. It's really great colors. Fujifilm has great colors. But I looked at it, I'm like, and I'm like, nope. It's, it's just different. And this camera, I'm super happy with this camera. It's doing well. And by the way, yeah, the X-T3, that's the one. By the way, I've taken this camera, everybody goes, Sony has terrible weather sealing. They don't have the best weather sealing. I'll grant you that. Like, I wouldn't dunk it underwater. I wouldn't let it freeze in a solid block of ice like you can with the Nikon and Canon Pro bodies. But I've had this thing inside of Glacier Ice Cave for hours, getting dripped on all over the place, and it is still working like a champ. So take that, Sony haters. Anyway, Let's see. The XT3 autofocus was a little suspect. Yeah, that was a big thing for me. Even looking at like the GH5, the because I film myself so much, I have to be able to trust autofocus like 99% of the time. And Canon and Sony are the only ones that I've worked with that really like. I never have to worry about the autofocus. It hits it right almost every time. And there's occasionally in low light where it messes up, but it's really good. So, and Sony's autofocus now I think it's even beating Canon out just because of the eye autofocus, and the face detect is so good and it's so solid. I've been using this to record this and the A6400 to record a bunch of interviews for the last couple of weeks for a project I'm working on, and it's amazing. I can set it there, and I used to do it where I was like, okay, I'm going to, find focus and then set it to manual so the focus doesn't shift or breathe or anything. And this is the first time I haven't done that, and it has not missed it at all. It's fantastic. So anyway, Cardoso camera envy is dangerous for the pocket. Oh man, yeah, that's exactly right. And I mean, obviously doing what I do here on the YouTube channel, like I keep up with what's going on. I don't make enough money to buy every new piece of camera that comes out like other YouTubers do. Good Lord. I don't know if they're doing like a borrow thing from BH Photo or what, but some of these guys, like, they have every single new camera that comes out early or right when it comes out, and then yeah. Anyway, so it just, yeah, it'd be like more than a full-time job just keeping up with that. For the amount of money you'd have to spend to do that would be a lot. So Ali, you asked one more question. What do I use to record my audio for my videos? Oh, I'm so glad you asked that, because somebody else asked me that too. So right now, right here, what you're hearing is the Deity S-Mic 2S, so the little one they just announced. I'm using a Mix Pre 3 to record, not the newest version, the older version, to send audio over the computer. When I am out in the field, I am using one of two setups, and my one setup is, it's way the heck over there. I'm not going to go get it right now, but it's the D3 Pro, which I did a review on last summer. This past summer. Anyway, the D3 Pro is on the top of your camera microphone. It's fantastic. For $200 US, you get a ton of features. It really has great audio quality, does a good job of, getting rid of sound you don't want and stuff like that. And then the other thing I use, which I don't have over here because it's way the heck over there charging, is the Rode Wireless Go. And the last few videos you've seen, I've been using the Rode Wireless Go, and I'll clip it like right in here. And then I put, the Wireless Go goes down here somewhere, but I'll clip this, which is a Countryman B3, my favorite lav mic, because it's relatively inexpensive. It doesn't cost $500 or $600. It's like around $200. I know it's expensive, but it's a great lav mic. It's waterproof, which is good for me. It has really good natural sound. And then with this, which is the Rode Invisilab little silicone thing, you just pop it in there. When I set it in here, it gets rid of almost all of the clothing rustle sound. And so I can just basically, the last few times, the last 4 or 5 videos I've shot, because I've been wanting to do more stuff where I'm not like holding the camera right next to the camera, but I still need the good quality audio. So I started doing that because then, whether I'm on the front or the back side of the camera, it doesn't matter. I always have really good audio. So that's what I've been doing lately, and I've really been enjoying that. But the D3 Pro, if I'm doing a camera mic on here or a boom mic out on location, that's the one I generally use. And then the Rode Wireless Go. I've used the Rode Wireless Go on like 10 or 12 commercial shoots now, and it's fantastic. That little unit is great. So yeah, let's see. John Burdett, you love your Sony A9. The A9 is a great camera. Yeah, the only reason I want the A7S III is if it has 4K 60 and 10-bit color, like 422 or 420. Well, no, 422 and 10-bit color is really what I want. Those two features on the new Sony a7S III that may never appear, and it might not ever be a thing, but if it is, that's what I want, and that's the only reasons that I would ever buy it. And maybe if it had better low light performance. Those 3 reasons are the only reasons I would buy it. So, and it would probably replace this. Or probably replace the A6400 as my A camera. This would become a B camera, and that one would go to the next deserving person who needs a good camera. Let's see, Cardoso, you had a large chunk of snow fall off a tree and you hit your A6400 Sigma 30, but it was fine. Wow, that's really good because the A6400 does not have weather sealing, or at least it doesn't have good weather sealing, from what I understand. So I've had mine with me, but I've never taken it out of the case when I'm out in locations that it's wet and rainy or whatever. Yeah, I'm a little too worried about it. Little too worried about it. Where's mine? There it is. AVP Films, you use your Nikon D750 5 years now for photos. Yeah, that's a nice camera. A6500 for video, but you're looking towards full frame. In the future, probably Sony. Yeah, man, Sony's, unless they just don't develop anything new, like Sony's video game is really strong on the mirrorless stuff. It's really good. But if the A7S III and then the A7 IV, that next generation of cameras don't have like 4K 60, some of the better video specs, they'll start losing ground on the video market. Cardoso, yeah, that's who I was thinking of. Gary from TED. He's like the everyday dad. That dude, man, he has cameras every day. He has a new camera. They borrow. I know they borrowed a lot of. I've been trying to figure out how I can borrow a lot of it. The problem is, whenever I talk to somebody about borrowing it, they're like, "I'm not shipping it to Alaska. That's crazy." So, anyway, all right, Cardoso, thanks, man. I got another 15 minutes or so, and then I'll wrap it up too. But thanks for hanging out tonight. Hope you're doing well. Looks like you're starting to get winter down there. We're not up here yet, just cold and wet. So, cheers, man. Yeah, it's geez. Oh, the drone laws in Alaska. Yeah, thanks, Mark. I remember seeing that and I forgot about it. So the drone laws here, you can register, and in Canada is extremely strict. So unless you have the Mavic Mini, don't fly a drone in Canada because you have to get through an insanely detailed test to fly in Canada at all. But in Alaska or the USA, you could register your drone with the FAA. Costs $5. If somebody tells you it costs more than that, it doesn't. You're on the wrong site. Make sure you go to the right site. And $5 to register it as a hobbyist. And then you can fly it anywhere except for national parks. The problem is a lot of the areas that you will be going through are national parks. Almost all of it is a national park. So that'll be a challenge. Well, I mean, a lot of it, not all of it, but a lot of it. So you can't fly there. And although, if from out of country, you could probably get away with it, but I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't recommend it because they're very, very watchful about that. And then most cruise companies now have specific rules about drones too. A lot of them will take your drone when you get on the boat, and then they'll give it back to you when the cruise is over. So check that too with your cruise, whoever you're doing the cruise with or traveling with. Yeah, I have no idea, Alex. I've never done that. Let's see. Yeah, so to fly it in the U.S., unless you use the Mavic Mini kind of gets under all those rules as far as registering. You still have to follow the rules, which is like 400 feet, line of sight, all of that during the day only. Actually, that might not still be a thing. But you do have to register with the FAA to fly in the U.S. if your drone is over 0.55 pounds, 250 grams. So if your drone is 250 grams or more, you have to register to fly here. Even not as a commercial person, but just as a hobbyist, you still need to register to fly. And then Mavic Air. Oh, Mavic Air is a great drone. Let's see, Magic Air. I know what you meant. So yeah, but it's $5 US to register, and then you're fine. And you'll get a little number. You got to put the number on your drone. Like, well, you probably can't see it, but there's this one. This is actually registered as commercial drone, so there's a number on that leg right there. And then my other drone's registered as commercial drone and a private drone, so I have both numbers on that one. But yeah, the private drone, the hobbyist registration, it allows you to fly any drone that you own. But yeah, so, and it lasts for a few years, and it's $5 US. It's not a big deal, but you do have to do that to fly anything over 250 grams. So let's see. I think I got that question. I don't think I missed any other questions about video stuff or photography stuff. I am on the list and should be getting my the Skydio 2 the end of November. I can't wait for that. They're supposed to start shipping here in a few weeks. That I am super excited about, and I've already got planned out what I want to do and where I want to take that thing. So we'll see. That'll be fun. Mark H, is the Sony a6400 4K? Yes, it shoots 4K 24 and 4K 30. And that's what I'm shooting on right now. And it shoots, it's great 4K. Does really well. Does pretty well into lower light, but it definitely starts getting noisy just because it's a smaller sensor. Like once you get above 3200 to 6400 ISO is kind of the cutoff point for me. So you have the Spark. You need to upgrade, John. The Mavic Mini is a pretty solid upgrade to the Spark, man. It's smaller. You don't have to mess with a lot of the laws in a lot of places. But it's a beefy little drone, man. There's a video about there like battling 25-mile-an-hour headwinds. I was amazed. It's really great. So me too, Mark. I can't wait to see that thing in action. I can't wait to try it out in action. I'm really excited about that drone, especially because anybody who does stuff like I do, where you're out there, creating stuff by yourself, you're a solo creator. The Skydio 2 looks like it's going to be fantastic. The biggest question I have is it possible for me to use the Skydio 2 just that? And even on my more commercial drone stuff, like I want to know if I can use just the Skydio 2, if it could, in theory, replace my Mavic 2 Pro. I think it can compete with it video-wise. I don't know on the photo side. That's my big question, because I do photos with my drone, and the 1-inch sensor on the Mavic 2 Pro is really nice. And the raw photos are really, really nice. Mark H, am I getting both controllers? So I've been going back and forth. I probably will, purely for the fact that, I'm going to put a bunch of content out there on YouTube about the Skydio 2, and I know that'll be a lot of questions I'll get, which, well, what about this controller? What is that controller? And so the beacon, absolutely. There was no question I'm getting the beacon. The hand controller, I probably am, just so that I can answer people's questions about it. Because, yeah, I know I'll get a bunch of questions about it. So, but the beacon, I'm really excited about the beacon. That's a super exciting thing. Hey, Rick Halber. Okay, so I used to think your name was Rick Halper, as a P. And then I realized, no, it's Burr. Rick Halber. Anyway, so welcome to the stream. We were just talking about the Skydio 2. I'm rebuilding my FPV drone. I decided to do a different ESC. Before I had 4 ESCs. Now I'm doing a 4-in-1 and a different flight controller. And I'm going to put in for fun. I'm going to put in and try out the FPV system from DJI, because I've been really curious about it and I want to try it out. So yeah. Yeah, that's true, Alex. Low price camcorders, Amazon. And speaking of camcorders, somebody let me know that this the Weebill S can easily handle like the XA series of camcorders from Sony, and I think that was XA. Anyway, or that might have been Canon. Anyway, but it can handle camcorders as well, I found out. So, oh, Rick, thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. You may get to upgrade. So, Rick, are you on the list for the Skydio 2? I thought you were, but Mark, I'm sorry. Thank you, Mark. Are you on the list? Are you on the list, Mark? Rick, you're on the list, I'm pretty sure, right? You have it on order. Going to get both controllers. Yep, me too. Okay, yeah, I knew you were on the list. What about you, Mark H? You're not on the list. Okay, well, stay tuned for all of your Skydio 2 news. Anyway, I mean, I'll be doing a bunch of stuff with it. And, of course, being in the location I'm in really helps to be able to make stuff look amazing every time. Anyway, but thank you for the super chat, Mark. I really appreciate it. I need to program a sound effect or something to happen. I can push a button, but I really do appreciate that, man. I appreciate it a lot. So, you looked, and the next quarter is coming. I think they're out like into April or something, aren't they? For like when they're shipping now. If you put a deposit down now, they're out into April, which I don't know how many units they're shipping per like quarter. I would imagine it's a fair amount. I'm really excited just for the fact that like DJI needs a solid competitor in the consumer drone market. And right now, the Parrot's not doing much. Autel is doing some great stuff, but I don't feel like they're really, I don't know, to me it doesn't feel like they're really pushing that hard still. Maybe they are, and maybe I just don't see it. Maybe they're working on the Autel Evo 2 or something, I don't know. And then, so more competition is good for us. Rick Albert, yeah. We're going to need popcorn for all those reviews. That's true. There's probably going to be a lot. I mean, like you look at how the Osmo Action came out, and there was just reviews everywhere. Same thing. Mavic Mini, boom, reviews everywhere. GoPro 8, reviews everywhere. If you don't get this stuff early anymore, it's like, good Lord, what do you do? I mean, I still think you do a review because I think people are starting to go, okay, I'd rather see, a review that's like a first look review, fine. But a deeper dive review, an honest review, not honest review, but a review from somebody who didn't receive it for free, maybe. But also a review, I feel like we need more people who are doing reviews, like long-term reviews, and then kind of deep dive reviews on products out there. And so that's kind of what I'm trying to do with my channel, along with other stuff too. So. Inside my helmet, Alex, I used a Sony FDRX 3000 because it was the only thing that would fit. Mark H, this was last week. Yeah. Skydio 2 or Mavic 2 Zoom? Yeah. Man, if I was looking at a Mavic now, I would definitely hold off to see what the Skydio 2 does. So, once I get it, you want to ping me questions, go for it. The Mavic 2, the rumor is they're going to release a new Mavic 3, or at least announce it in January. So that's not that far off. I wouldn't buy one now. I'd at least wait till January and see if they announce anything. If they don't, then go for it. By then you'll have a really good idea of how good the Skydio 2 is anyway, and whether or not it's something that would be good for you. So, yeah. The other reason I'm really excited about the Skydio 2 is it will recharge via USB-C, and so I can recharge it in the field rather than having to carry 3 or 4 batteries with me, which is weight. I can just have my USB battery pack that I carry with me anyway and recharge it out in the field. So I'm really excited about that. Thinking of waiting, looking forward to. Oh, thanks. Appreciate that. Depending on what the weather's doing, I have a couple of locations in mind to go and film, my review and testing of the Skydio 2. And it all totally, completely, 110% depends on what the weather is doing at that point, because I have no idea. So we'll see. It'll be good. So I'll do an initial review and then kind of walk through a lot of the settings and stuff like that. I'll probably be doing too is like neck and neck with my Mavic 2. We'll hit a lot of the same shots and really compare it well. Actually, I did that when the Mavic Air came out. I did the original Mavic compared to the Mavic Air video, and tried to get the exact same shots and line them up, half and half, so you could see the differences. And I like that. I appreciate that kind of stuff for me, because when you can see it like together in the same screen, you're not having to rewind and skip to try and compare differences. I really like that. It's hard to do with drones, but to me it really gives you the most optimum ability to see the difference between the two drones. So yeah. And the Mavic Air, when it was shaking, that's right. You remember that. It was, yeah, Russ from 51 Drones and I were going back and forth about whether the Mavic Air had a problem or not. And yeah, that was fun. I think that was how I first met Russ digitally, is we were comparing notes on the cold weather problems of the Mavic Air. Because I'd hiked out to a glacier at 17 below zero and said, yeah, I mean, everything was fine for me. It shook a little bit, but I always, anytime I fly into the winter, the drone, I take off and I let it hover for a good minute or two to let the temperature come up. And apparently doing that was avoiding a lot of that shaking. So, of course, then they fixed it. It was no big deal because of the firmware. But that was a fun video. It was freezing, but it was fun. That was such a fun day. Alex, background in my room. What lights do I use for it? So that's just a bunch of fairy lights, that little jar thing. And then behind that are two LED strips that are actually like professional LED DJ strips or stage lighting strips that I've had for forever. So that. And then I have two lights right here, 1, 2, that are hitting kind of the rim, and one light up there that's hitting this up here, and then a light right there to fill in this part of my face, and then a huge light right over there to do the key light thing. So it's a ridiculous amount of lighting, but it looks good and I like it. So yeah, and part of the reason I use that light there is if I do anything like this with the camera, if I did that, it would miss the key light completely and just be in the dark. So it kind of really throws things off. But Mark H, the LED lighting, yeah, those, not the ones in the jar, but the blue lights on the wall back there, basically they're red, green, blue, and ultraviolet. They can do anything in any shade that you can create out of RGB lighting, which is really fun. And they could even do disco mode and stuff like that, which my kids love. I do not like it as much as they do, but they really like it. So yeah, if I'm in a bad mood, I'll change those to red. And just kidding, I don't do that. But yeah, it's nice. So and then I got lighting in the ceiling, and those are the Philips Hue bulbs that you can control with your app on your phone, And so the whole idea with this room was it used to be a recording studio. My recording studio was a pro level recording studio. And so I ripped it out because I was doing much more video production. Well, there's a lot of things. You don't need all the details, but so I made it one big room again. It's still very good for recording. It's still very quiet in here. Obviously, you can see all the sound treatments that I did. And then became more like our multi-purpose studio room between my wife and I. And then we have a big TV over there that we will come down here and, the family will all gather around and watch a movie together or something like that in the weekends when we have our day, our family day together. So it also is nice to have a big 4K TV to, check my videos on before I upload them to YouTube. And yeah, actually that was a birthday present from my wife and some friends, which I was really excited about. And then, yeah, so this whole room everything's kind of built to have like lots of flexibility for mood and ambiance and stuff like that. The only thing I haven't done now, which you can't see, you could see in this shot anyway, is around the ceiling I want to put RGB light strips, the LED light strips, the tape, so that it can like change the whole ceiling. Anyway, so. John, I'm in South Central Alaska, so I live in Anchorage, which is, yeah, South Central. And then, but I get to travel a fair amount. Not as far as I've wanted to yet this year. Like, I want to go down to Cordova, Valdez, some of more of the southeast areas, Skagway. I'd love to go hit up some of those areas. I haven't been able to do it yet. I'd also like to go up north. Not now because it's cold and winter up there, but way north, like Barrow. Well, what used to be called Barrow, but the northernmost inhabited point in the United States, and then also west. And I really want to go out on the Aleutians. There's some amazing places out on the Aleutians that I would love to go see someday. Traveling out there is very sketchy. Like, you could go out there and be there for a while because your plane can't get back till the weather clears. So, yeah. That's going to do it for me today. Yeah. I appreciate you all watching, hanging out with me tonight. I've been trying to set it up, and I think I've almost got it where we could Skype in and do back and forth, but I haven't quite got it set up yet to where it's reliable. Yeah, Dutch Harbor. Oh, I'd love to go to Dutch Harbor, Mark H. That's right. Anyway, so that's going to do it for me for today. I really appreciate y'all hanging out with me tonight. And questions. I love answering questions. I love helping people out as much as I can. And that's why I always tell people at the end of the videos, hey, if you want to, have a specific question I need to answer in a video, reach out to me on Instagram, Twitter, ask me, and I'll try and answer them as best I can. Thanks for hanging out tonight. Thanks for watching and being part of this channel. I really appreciate it. For those of you that are solo creators like me, hopefully I can help you and give you some good advice and help you avoid making some of the mistakes that I made. Other than that, I want to say thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for hanging out. I will see you again soon in the next video. And until then, peace and have a good night.